it's great to see you again. Today we're going to learn all about water. Do you know where the water here in Kansas comes from and how it travels? Do you know what kinds of organisms live in the waters of Kansas? We are going to learn about that today. When it rains, the rain seeps into the ground. And if it rains really hard, it can flow on top of the ground. Gravity moves water from higher ground to the lowest ground. The water can flow all the way to rivers like the Kansas River. Some of the water in the Kansas River flows all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. Water flows from higher places to lower places. Another way of saying that is that water flows from higher elevation to lower elevation. Because water flows from higher to lower elevation, water flows down from the mountains in Colorado to western Kansas, then to eastern Kansas. Streams flow down with the help of gravity and can meet other streams. When this happens, the stream widens. When more and more streams flow into each other, a river can form. Lakes and ponds can form naturally when water flows to low spots and collects there. In Kansas, there are not many naturally occurring lakes and ponds. Most of the blue lines on this map of Kansas are rivers. The large blue areas, like this one, are human-made lakes. Human-made lakes and ponds are sometimes called reservoirs because they reserve or hold water for animals and people to use. To make sure there is enough water, streams are blocked or dammed so that the water will collect. Sometimes people change the shape of the land so that it will hold water. Lakes and ponds are different from streams and rivers because in lakes and ponds the water does not move much. In streams and rivers, water is almost always moving and mixing because gravity is moving it downstream. In many streams, rivers, and lakes, different organisms live near the top and others live deeper down. There is more light at the water surface and less light in deeper water. Plants and algae, because they need the sun's energy to survive, grow near the surface of lakes, streams, and rivers. There is also more oxygen near the surface because plants and algae release oxygen when they photosynthesize. Another reason there is more oxygen close to the surface of the water is because when water moves and mixes, the oxygen from the air mixes into the water. The surface water is also warmer than water deeper down because the sun warms it more. Some organisms survive better in the warm water near the surface, and others survive better deeper down where the water is colder. Some fish, for example, are adapted to live in warm water and others to live in colder, deeper water. Remember when we talked about trophic levels? We talked about producers, the organisms that produce their own energy through photosynthesis. In forests, the trees and the bushes and small plants growing on the ground are all producers. In prairies, the grasses and other plants that have beautiful flowers are the producers. In streams and lakes, some producers, like algae, can be so small you hardly see them. Other producers that live in the water are bigger, like water lilies or cattail plants. The smallest producers can be eaten by small primary consumers, like insects or insect larvae. Mosquito larvae, for example, eat algae and then can be eaten by dragonfly larvae, who are secondary consumers. Other primary consumers that eat larger producers in and around water are muskrats, beavers, and fish. Kansas streams, rivers, and lakes or ponds have hundreds of different kinds or species of fish. Some are very beautiful, and some are not beautiful, but very tasty. Do you think fish can live in streams? They can, but not in small streams that can dry out. If there is no water, most fish cannot survive, since they can only breathe when they are in the water. In and around streams, rivers, lakes, and ponds, there are secondary consumers. Secondary consumers eat the insects and animals that eat plants. Here is a secondary consumer that is found in the water. Dragonfly larvae eat other larvae. Caddisfly larvae are very sneaky prey. Some find a spot on top of leaves or sticks or rocks in streams and surround themselves with pebbles and grains of sand to hide. Turtles and frogs are not fussy eaters. They will eat plants or algae, insects or worms, or whatever happens to be in front of them. Frogs and salamanders will even eat each other. Everything that is alive needs water to live. These organisms need lakes, ponds, rivers, or streams to live. So, what did you learn about water today? Does water flow from higher elevation to lower elevation? Yes! What are human-made lakes and ponds called? Reservoirs! Why is there more oxygen near the surface of lakes, ponds, rivers, and streams? Plants and algae grow there and produce oxygen, and oxygen from the air can get mixed into the water. Is this organism a producer, primary consumer, or secondary consumer? A producer. Plants produce their own energy through photosynthesis. Great job! See you next time!